it's okay to not want any more kids. Some people gonna tell you different, but it's okay to not want any more kids. 31 lessons in 31 days. All right. So I've said before, probably by the time you're watching this one, y'all know I got kids. I have two kids. I have two boys. They are my life. They are my loves. They are my heart. They are my soul. I love my kids. Um, I used to think that my oldest, I was like, I can't even remember my life before I had a kid. And now that I have my youngest, I'm like, I can't even remember my life when I didn't have two kids. Like, I love my kids. I thought I was done having kids after my first, only because of um, some I that postpartum depression ate me up and spat me out like 15, 11 times. So I was just like, I don't know. At one point, it really was, I don't know if I will be able to survive another postpartum depression episode. And so that's also the reason why there's such a big gap in the age of my kids, which this is something that I don't think I have fully explained. I think I've told this to my mom in sorts. I know my husband knows. I don't really think I've said it to anybody else, but that's really why there's such a big gap between my kids. My oldest is 11 and a half, and my youngest just turned 2 months ago as of the recording of this video. So that's 9.5 years, almost 10 years, nine years. But that's the reason why there's such a big gap, because postpartum depression ate me up and I didn't get the help that I needed. But I didn't know. One, I didn't really know about postpartum depression. I didn't know how it could affect me. And I also didn't really know how I could get help. I'm so grateful that now in this day and age, therapy is widely accepted, or accepted wider, whatever, than it was even when I was having my oldest child. And that there are more resources for people, and that those resources are um, promoted and shared now. Like back then, no. And I'm saying back then, like a lot. I told you, my oldest is 11 and a half. Like, it's crazy how much a decade and a year can change things. But yeah, back then I didn't know. Okay, so I suffered years, very, very long time. I don't even remember feeling somewhat halfway normal until my oldest was like 7 or 8. Um, so that's really the reason. So then that, plus then my second pregnancy was so very hard. Not even gonna get into it. So very hard. And then my birthing birthing day was not great. I tell people, and I'm gonna get into this in a second, but my short answer that I tell people when they're harassing me about having another child is, my second tried to kill himself and me. I will be having no more children. And then it's always fun, these people reactions to that, but that is not a lie. um, it's not a lie. The day I had my second son, I had to have an emergency C-section. That I was not in any way prepared for. And just the circumstances leading up to the doctor deciding to give me an emergency C-section not only happened within like 20 minutes, but it was so suddenly that my body was literally shaking from fear. I've never been that scared in my life, like ever. And so I absolutely have like PTSD from that day. And so I'm like, yeah, no, he tried to kill me and himself. I'm not having, and that's not a lie. So I never understood, well, not never. I know where it comes from. We're not going to get into that today. But it's just like the pressure for women and people who can have babies to have babies and to keep having more babies is so irresponsible. It is so irresponsible. not only the mental and emotional and physical toll that it takes on the person that is carrying and birthing the baby, but everything is getting more expensive. Children are expensive. And so I always say, especially to my mom friends, especially my mom friends that are like my age or a little bit younger or even a lot younger, I'm like, have two phrases in your pocket that you can say to people that are going to shut them up and let them rethink them ever asking that question to another person again. Always have two phrases. So one of mine I've already told you. It's, oh no, my youngest tried to kill me and himself, so I will not be having any more children. That's my first one. My second one is, no, we're done pretty much. I mean, unless you're going to help raise them, you're going to give me some money every month. We would love like a check every month to help raise our kids. You know, some way I phrase that. For some reason, I'm stumbling over my words now. But when I'm telling somebody off, everything comes straight through on the first try. So it's always a form of that. But those are my two phrases. In the first one, I use, so the he tried to kill me or to kill me and himself. So I'm not having any more kids. It's not only valid, but I also say it in a couple different tones depending on how the person is with me. Like, for instance, last night I saw somebody who is a really good friend of my mom's that I haven't seen in, wow, since probably the pandemic started. So close to 3 years, maybe more. And she hasn't met, actually, no, it is more because she hadn't seen my oldest in some years. So she definitely hasn't met my youngest. And so she had just asked, but she had asked nicely. And that's the other thing. It depends on the person's relationship with me, too. She's like an auntie to me. I just haven't seen, because even before the pandemic, her mom was very, very sick. So it's just, just a lot going on. But anyway, but she was like, so are you done? And that's just how she asked. I was like, girl, yeah. I said, he tried to kill me and himself. I will not be having any more children. And that's how I said it. And this was literally last night. And she laughed. She was like, oh, okay. She's like, oh yeah, then we don't need you going through that again. But she was asking, because there are people who ask, especially me, let me make this like first person personal, because this is my video. But there are people that ask me that are just being nice and genuinely want to know, right? Like, and I can usually tell by the tone. It's usually the tone and how they know me. It's how I figure out how I'm going to respond. But usually the tone will tell me, are you like really asking because you want to know, or are you trying to force something on me? Right. So last night, my mom's friend, when she asked, she was like, so are you done? But that's how she always talks to me, right? She wasn't being condescending. She wasn't being mean. She wasn't even being overly nosy. So that's how so I answered with that tone. But then there are other people that are like being nosy and trying to make me feel like I should be having more. Like, I've actually had people tell me, so you're not gonna give your husband a girl? First of all, why is your business? Why do you think that's your business? First of all. Second of all, my youngest tried to kill me and himself, so I'm not going through that again. So they usually so those people that ask that question about giving my husband a girl usually get that tone. Now, my husband has said that he wants a girl, and I told him we can adopt. Which I've always wanted to adopt anyway. We've always had, even my grandfather, when he was alive, always had the kids from the block in our house. We always had other kids from the church in our house, things like that. So I like taking care of people and everything like that. I am not going to put myself through that. I'm not. And the other thing is that I had to become comfortable standing in that, because I know my husband wants a daughter, but I also know that he understands why I won't have another child. Like, I am, and I know this is something I have to work through. It's just I'm working through other things right now. So this thing is not being worked through right now. But it's like I am petrified of getting pregnant again. Like, I never want to feel that level of fear that I felt the day I had my youngest son. And I never want to even get close to doing anything that will possibly make me go through that again. So birth control it is, right? But I do feel a little bit sad because I know that he would love a girl, but we are also getting older, right? We're all already going to be, oh, math. I don't know. 22, 18, 8, 9, 10, 0, 3, 4, 5. We're all already going to be over 50 when our youngest graduates from high school. Graduates from high school. And that's another thing people do. They try to scare you about age, which if you are older and have a child, I support you 100%. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just me, myself, and the way my body feels now. I already feel 50. So, but I can't do it. I can't do it. And so, my husband understands, right? Because he also says that was a very scary day for him. But he also understands my view of it because I was the one that actually had to get cut open from hip to hip, right? And even the recovery was very hard. 3 months of recovery. So I had my son end of September, and I don't know if it was because it was emergency C-section or what, but it was like November. October, November. Yeah. November for, I want to say, not for Thanksgiving, maybe the second week of November, I should taken my son to visit my sister when she was living in Louisiana. And I was maybe had just been functioning for 2 weeks at that point, like walking around and things like that. My husband had to help me go to the bathroom for about a month after the C-section because I was having such a hard time and so much pain. So I was like, aside from the fear and that absolute pure fear that I had the day that I had him, then the months of recovery afterward, I'm not going through I'm not going through that again. So I had to come up with phrases to tell people that no, not only am I not discussing this with you, but you really should rethink asking that question. And I use myself, and this is I was telling somebody a while ago, as that I use that because that was an experience that I had that it literally shuts people up. But guess what? If you have no children and don't want children, there doesn't have to be an extreme reason to not have kids. There does not have to be an extreme reason to not have any more kids. There does not have to be an extreme reason to keep having kids. Regardless, it is nobody's business. So it is okay to not have any more kids. It is okay to keep having more kids. It's also okay to cuss these people out when they ask what is going on within your womb, as if they are the person that is entering or exiting that womb. I will never understand it. This is a hill I will die on. Like, it absolutely is. Literally. Like, just like I go up for people who don't want to have any more kids, I go up for people who don't want to have kids in the first place. And I still go up for people who still want to keep having kids. Because it's the same thing. It's like if you look at comments, like pictures of people on Facebook or that go viral or whatever, that have like these big families, you get the negative comments. When you get, when you see a picture or something that's going viral of a woman who says she doesn't want to have kids, it's so many negative. I'm like, so what do y'all want? What do you want? People are never happy. Whether we have 0 kids, 1 kids, 2 kids, 12 kids, people are never happy. So it's okay to choose whatever you want to do with your womb. And it's okay to cuss everybody out that questions the decision that you make about growing or not growing humans in your body. That's the hill I'm going to die on.